11 Signs of a Lone Wolf Personality. 1. Loners are often independent and self-sufficient. There are many benefits to being independent, and one of the most significant is that it can be a sign of a strong and lone wolf personality. Those who are independent are often seen as leaders, because they are not afraid to go out on their own and make things happen. They are confident and self-sufficient, and they know how to get things done without depending on others. This can be a very attractive quality in both personal and professional relationships. Furthermore, being independent also allows people to have more control over their lives and their destiny. They are not at the mercy of anyone else, and they can make decisions that they feel are best for them. This can be empowering and liberating, and it can lead to a greater sense of fulfillment. Finally, people who are independent tend to be more successful in both their personal and professional lives. This is because they have the drive and determination to achieve their goals, and they are not afraid to take risks. If you want to be successful in life, then being independent is a good place to start. 2. They have a strong need for freedom and independence. A need for freedom is a common trait of lone wolf personalities. While some people are content to live within the confines of society, lone wolves yearn for independence and autonomy. This desire for freedom often stems from a strong sense of self-reliance. Lone wolves are typically very independent thinkers who are comfortable making their own decisions. They often have a strong sense of self-preservation and are not afraid to take risks. This combination of traits makes lone wolves very capable of surviving on their own. However, it also means that they can be difficult to work with in groups. Lone wolves often prefer to work alone or in small groups, where they can have more control over their environment. 3. Loners usually enjoy spending time alone or with a very small group of people. A recent study has shown that spending time with a small group of people is a sign of a lone wolf personality. Researchers found that individuals who preferred to spend time alone were more likely to have a smaller social circle. The study also found that lone wolves were more likely to be introverted and less likely to seek out social interactions. While the study did not examine the reasons behind these findings, it is clear that spending time with a small group of people is not necessarily indicative of a loner personality. Instead, it may simply be a preference for close-knit relationships and intimate interactions. 4. They are often quite content with their own company. Being content with your own company is often seen as a sign of a lone wolf personality. This is because people who are comfortable being alone are usually independent and self-sufficient. They don't rely on others for validation or companionship, and they're perfectly happy doing their own thing. While some people might see this as a negative trait, there are actually several benefits to being a lone wolf. For one, it allows you to focus on your own goals and aspirations without distractions. You're also less likely to get derailed by other people's drama or problems. And perhaps most importantly, it gives you the freedom to be yourself without having to conform to anyone else's expectations. So if you're content spending time alone, don't let anyone tell you that it's a bad thing. It just means you're comfortable in your own skin, and that's definitely something to be proud of. 5. Loners generally have few close friends and can be quite selective about who they let into their lives. Many people see being selective as a negative trait. After all, it can lead to feelings of isolation and loneliness. However, there are also some upsides to being selective. For one thing, it can be a sign of a strong individualist streak. Lone wolves are often comfortable going their own way and making their own choices, even if it means being apart from the pack. In addition, being selective can also be a sign of wisdom. After all, not everyone is worth our time and energy. By being choosy about who we let into our lives, we can avoid bad relationships and toxic situations. So, while being selective may have some downsides, it can also be a sign of strength and intelligence. 6. They can be quite introspective, often exploring their innermost thoughts and feelings. Being introspective means taking the time to reflect on oneself and one's actions. This can include thinking about what motivates one's choices, how those choices affect others, and what lessons can be learned from past experiences. People who are introspective are often lone wolves because they are more focused on their own inner thoughts and feelings than on external factors. This doesn't mean that lone wolves are necessarily shy or antisocial, they just prefer to spend time alone or in small groups. Being introspective can help lone wolves to understand themselves better and make more informed choices. It can also help them to avoid making the same mistakes twice. Ultimately, being introspective is a sign of a strong and independent personality, one that is capable of weathering life's challenges alone. 7. Loners are usually quite creative and have rich inner lives. Some people think that lone wolves are only creative because they lack the social skills to work well with others. However, new research suggests that there may be another reason why lone wolves are more likely to be creative: they simply tend to think differently. According to a recent study, people with a lone wolf personality are more likely to see the world in abstract ways. This allows them to come up with new ideas and solutions that others might not think of. In addition, lone wolves are also more likely to take risks and experiment with new ideas. While this can sometimes lead to failure, it also means that lone wolves are more likely to succeed in fields that require creativity and innovation. So if you're looking for a creative partner, don't be afraid to seek out a lone wolf. 8. They can be fiercely independent and resistant to change. According to psychologists, people who are resistant to change tend to have what is known as a lone wolf personality. This means that they are independent, self-reliant, and comfortable working by themselves. While this can be a positive trait in some situations, it can also make it difficult for lone wolves to adapt to new situations. For example, if they are resistant to change in their personal lives, they may have trouble making new friends or trying new things. In the workplace, lone wolves may find it difficult to work collaboratively with others or to take on new projects. Ultimately, being resistant to change can make it difficult for lone wolves to succeed in a world that is constantly changing. 9. Loners are often highly individualistic in their thinking and actions. Individualism is the belief that each person is an individual and should be free to think and act independently. This way of thinking is often associated with lone wolf personalities. Lone wolves are often comfortable going their own way and making their own choices, even if it means being apart from the pack. In addition, lone wolves are often highly independent and self-reliant. They may also have a strong sense of self-identity and be comfortable with who they are. While individualism has its benefits, it can also make lone wolves seem aloof or even arrogant to others. In some cases, it can also make them seem selfish or uncooperative. Ultimately, individualism is a double-edged sword. It can make lone wolves successful, but it can also make them difficult to work with. 10. They may feel misunderstood by others and isolated from the rest of the world. Being misunderstood and isolated from the rest of the world is a sign of a lone wolf personality. This is because lone wolves are people who prefer to solitary and independent. They are often seen as loners or outcasts because they don't fit into the typical social mold. Instead, they often prefer to do things their own way. While this can be perceived as a negative trait, it's actually quite empowering. It allows lone wolves to be true to themselves and follow their own path instead of succumbing to peer pressure or societal expectations. As a result, lone wolves are often very strong-willed and passionate individuals. So if you find yourself feeling misunderstood or alone, know that it's not a bad thing. Embrace your inner lone wolf and forge your own path in life. 11. They have a strong sense of self-identity and are comfortable with who they are. Lone wolves often have a strong sense of self-identity. This means that they know who they are and what they believe in. As a result, they are usually quite comfortable in their own skin. They don't feel the need to conform to societal norms or expectations. Instead, they are content to be their own unique selves. This can be a very empowering trait, and it allows lone wolves to live their lives on their own terms. So if you're looking for a way to boost your self-confidence, try embracing your inner lone wolf. Embrace your uniqueness and be proud of who you are. Thanks for watching. If you want to learn more about the 11 signs of a lone wolf personality, be sure to subscribe to our channel. We have tons of great content that will help you understand this unique personality type. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you soon.